Hello everyone. Today is the 3rd of July. It's my first update for the month of July. This week I haven't done as much stitching. I don't know if it's just because I just didn't get enough time or if it was because of the weather. It's been quite hot here the last week and a half or so, which has affected. I don't do very well in the heat. Before we get started, I would just like to say thank you very much for all the support for me talking about being a monogamous stitcher and solely stitching on Lord of the Rings. I have made a decision and I am going to solely stitch on it for the next 6 months, see how I get on. And if I enjoy it, I'm going to keep going. Fingers crossed I can get it done within 2 years. I'd like to say 2 years. I worked out my progress, like how much it would take or how long it would take me. No, how many stitches I would need to get it done in a year's time. And I believe, because I didn't write it down because I knew it wouldn't be possible, I think it was 1,500 stitches a day, which is impossible for me to do every day. So I think we're looking at 2 years, which is fine by me because I wanted it done by the time I was 40. I'm 35, so that's 3 years earlier than what I planned originally for this piece. On average this week, because I am recording a day early, I usually do it on a Friday and today's a Thursday, but so I had one really good day where I did 1,650 stitches, but on average it was around the 460 stitches mark. So I'd say as long as I get, well, yeah, I don't know, because that's not even half. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, it'll take as long as it takes, but the goal is 2 years. If I could make it through this next 6 months and see how much progress I've got, because I'm just rambling at the minute in my head. I really should have thought about this before I started recording. If I can see how much progress I've got in the next 6 months and I'm happy with that, we could probably make a prediction of when I'm going to finish, because obviously every week is different. Some weeks I can stitch more, some weeks I stitch less. I did have one break, but well, actually no, that is a lie. I still stitched on Lord of the Rings every day this week, but I did stitch on Lovers for half of my stitchy time one day this week, but I didn't solely stitch on that. I did stitch Lord of the Rings in the morning on my day off, I believe, and then at night I thought, you know what, I'm gonna stitch on a smaller piece. So the plan is to stitch on Lord of the Rings every day if I can. When I feel like I'm getting a little bit burnt out, I will use the 2 projects. I will put them here to alternate between. So this week I used Lovers, next week I will use Dark Queen of the Seas. Good news about Dark Queen of the Seas, I have managed to get it on my pattern keeper, except I can't use pattern keeper like I normally would, so I can't highlight a stitch and mark it off. I can mark them off, but it gets rid of that stitch completely, like I can't see what that stitch was. It goes grey, I think. The square just goes grey. So it's going to be better than paper, but I think it still will take me longer than what it normally would, as if I was just stitching on a standard PDF on Pattern Keeper. So I will try that out next week, or this week coming. And what else? Yeah, and when I finish Lord of the Rings, my plan is to then work on my pattern with the least stitches in total. So my smallest full coverage piece, whilst still rotating the samplers. So the samplers that I have currently are not Lord of the Rings, Lovers, Dark Queen of the Seas, and Ragnarok. Now, I had a quick look at Ragnarok. Ragnarok has 64,000 and something stitches, which is smaller than what I thought. But my smallest full coverage piece, I believe it has 51,000 stitches. It's about 190 stitches wide by 280 long, something like that. But it's Necromancer by Bug from Thread Geeks. It is from Thread Geeks. It was a present. It was a gift for Mother's Day, last Mother's Day. I did do a little bit of progress on it. And then when my pattern keeper died on my old tablet, I haven't touched it since. My pattern keeper died, gosh, last August. Yeah, it was almost a year ago now that my pattern keeper died, and I have not touched that project since it died. I never input the stitches that I'd already done, so it's still sitting blank on pattern keeper. So I have done some progress on it. But once we get Lord of the Rings out of the way, in 2 years' time or whatever, I will go on the smallest, and then when the smallest is done, it will feel like such a different pace of stitching compared to Lord of the Rings. And then once that's finished, I will move on to my second biggest project, and then I will go backwards and forwards, I think, between a big project and a small project if I continue to stitch monogamously. That is the plan at the minute, is to go from a big project to a small project, and then obviously the whichever one's similar sizes will be very close together, unless I start something, because by the time all that's done, chances are I will have different starts, because I can't see myself not buying a pattern for that long or starting one that I already own. So let me show you Lovers first. Now, hopefully I have pictures, because I know I don't have a start picture for Lord of the Rings. I might be able to get it off the last video, because I did that video clip at the end. If I can get a screenshot of that, I'll put it up for Lord of the Rings. But for Lovers, I think I did as well. So here is where we are. And if there is a before picture, I will pop it here. But I'm really happy with that. Obviously, this is a very small piece. And I don't get much progress done on it, like at once. But I'm very happy with it. It's something that I can just sit and take my time with. I'm not in a rush to do this. There's another 11 of them that I need to do. So these will end up being the in-between pieces that I work on if I continue to stitch monogamously. Why is that word so hard to say? Or how to pronounce? Especially for me. Okay. Alright, so as I said, Lord of the Rings. I managed 4,768 stitches this week, and if I have a clip of what it looked like before this week, I will put it up now. And here is this week's results. So not as much as last week. I think I did 9,000 stitches last time. But it's getting there. This statue is getting a bit more defined. More coming down this side now. And I am filling in the middle here as well. But all in all, I am still super happy with it. Not bored of it. I have started putting DMC into this chart. Reason for that is because there's a new shop in my town centre where I work that now sells DMC. Before that, I would always have to buy it online or ask my partner to give me a lift to a industrial park where they have a hobby craft. And I didn't really like buying DMC when I start a project because of how expensive it is. This shop in the town centre I think is like £1.30 a skein. So it's not too bad. But I have stopped buying CXC online for like 1 or 2 pieces just because the postage is so high. I bought $33.71 for this a few weeks ago. It took a week to get here, and then I was charged an extra £1.50 for the postage because the seller had put it in the wrong parcel. But originally they charged me like £3.80 for the postage, and the skein was £1 anyway, and I was just like, oh, I might as well just, as I'm running out of thread for this, just restock it. Because when I finish work, I finish at 9 AM and the other shop opens at 9 AM, so I can just walk straight there from work, pick up my thread, because I did have to get a couple this week. I am short of 606, which I think is going to be slightly more vibrant than the CXC. So hopefully it's not too noticeable. Oh no, actually it doesn't look too bad. When I was looking at this in the store, I was kind of like, ooh, I think that might be a bit of an issue, because sometimes with CXC and DMC, when you get a different dye lot, your thread could be different. 498 I think is another one, because 498 is quite dark in CXC, whereas I think the DMC is lighter. I know I did some 498 last night down here, but I actually think I'm going to be okay. 38, 34, which is pretty much everywhere. I don't have to worry about that one. And 917, which is kind of in between, like there's little speckles of it in here. So there's not big blocks of it like this colour. So I can't remember what colour it is down there. I think this is the same colour all the way down. So it's definitely not that colour, and it wouldn't be noticeable anyway. But thankfully I don't have big blocks of colour on either of them where it's going to be too noticeable. But yeah, I think from now on I am just going to pick up DMC thread. It might change how thick this one is, probably in a good way, that the back won't be so thick, but it might look a little bit more sparse when it's stitched next to a CXC thread, because CXC is quite full and plump, and I have noticed already because I think I bought the 3371 from the shop in town because I was getting impatient waiting for this parcel to show up. When I stitched it, and I stitched it next to a CXC thread, you could see a little bit of the white fabric. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. Yeah, I think I can see it up here. There's like I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Can you see those tiny little sparse bits there? That is where, like, the difference between the DMC and the CXC. But in general, like, when this picture is done, it's going to be massive. No one's going to be looking at little sparse pieces like that. So, and I'm not worried, because when I wash this, it will shrink a little bit. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll be fine. But that is all I have to say, actually, I think. So next week, I'll obviously be working on this, and I will alternate lovers with Dark Queen of the Seas. I will try it out because I haven't actually tested it on Pattern Keeper yet. I haven't worked on it whilst using Pattern Keeper. I need to input the stitches that I've already done, although I think I might have done a couple of them, and then I will see how well I get on, and if I can stitch more on that one versus the paper. Absolutely brilliant, because the paper really gives me a headache. The symbols are so small on these pieces of paper. It puts me off doing samplers in the future that don't read in Pattern Keeper, because I just can't. My eyes just don't want to focus from moving from the paper to the cross stitch constantly. It just really gives me a bad migraine. So if it works on Pattern Keeper, it will be perfect. So I'll see you next week. So today is the 18th of July. I have missed a week. Last week was a little bit busy, and in honesty I actually forgot. It got to Friday, which is the day that I usually record, last week. And I thought I had something to do that day. I just couldn't remember what it was. And then it got to like the end of the night and I was like, oh dang, I forgot to record. But my partner was off last week, and I think that's why I forgot. So I have a bit of time now. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, like to the dot, I think. And unfortunately, I also didn't take a picture for the missed week for Lord of the Rings. But I do have the details. I have been writing down like what I was doing. So I worked on Lord of the Rings pretty much every day, apart from 3 times on Dark Queen of the Seas last week. I haven't actually done anything on Dark Queen this week, but good news is that I managed to get it into Pattern Keeper. So it's in there, but when you look at it and highlight it, it doesn't tell you what number, like it's not in it properly. I think if you've worked with Pattern Keeper before, you probably know what I'm talking about. When you touch a symbol, it doesn't tell you the colour or anything like that. So I still have to use my paper to revert back to what colour it is. And when I mark them off, it just goes grey. So it's difficult to see what colour was there already. I have to like click the frog option just to see sometimes, just to double check that obviously I'm working in the right section when I come back to it another day. Sometimes I have to frog them on the thing and then go back to it. Also with the percentage is not very accurate as well, because it is reading the blank areas of the PDF as actual stitches. So I'm not going to write down the percentage, but I have wrote down the stitches, which is what I wanted it for. I wanted to be able to see how many stitches I'm doing, so that's perfect. And obviously not working on paper pattern that's teeny weeny is perfect as well. So I think I will get started with that one first. Hopefully I have a before picture for you. If I don't, I apologise. I've been really bad with remembering to take before pictures for Stitch Pal the last couple of weeks. So yeah. Ooh, I think I'm going to have to take her out of the hoop, because I did move the hoop. I remember moving the hoop, and I am going to move Lord of the Ring hoop today as well, which is exciting because I'm really looking forward to seeing that again. So here is Dark Queen of the Seas. Oh, it's a shame with the hoop mark. Right, okay. So I did a bit more hair, and then I did mostly body. I'm at her chest, and this is her elbow, which I remember doing last week. So I did all that, and then I think I came from about here upwards when I got Pattern Keeper up and running. So I did that to test it out. Really, really like it. Really, really loving the colours. I think I'm going to put it away this week though and work on Lovers. But I did 766 stitches last week, because I haven't done anything other than Lord of the Rings this week. I think I'm going to keep going upwards with this one. I think I'll just keep working upwards when I come back to it. Finish off her chest and maybe get her arm and her face in before I start going back down and left and right. So that is what I shall do. But I am really, really happy with the progress on that. Do still really enjoy the colours. Fabric's really nice to work with. No problems whatsoever. I do have a bit of haul and something else to talk about after Lord of the Rings. So don't fast forward me to the next clip just yet. For the people that don't like to see anything other than the stitching. Right. Lord of the Rings. If I have a before picture, I will put it in now. So Lord of the Rings last week, the week that I missed, I did 6,260 stitches. This week I have done 4,434 stitches, and the percentage now is at 15.44%, which I'm happy with it, but I kind of hoped I'd be further along. But then saying that, last month, because I've got a new book, a new notebook that my daughter bought me for my birthday in May, and on each page I'm doing like each video I do. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so I can see like on the last page, on the page before. On Flosstube 44, we were at the beginning of that, we were at 10.66%. So I've done 5% in a month. So yeah, I should be happy with that really. But I think I kind of got to a point the last couple of weeks where I felt like I wasn't doing much progress. So I actually dug through my old Stitch Pal pictures just to see how much I'd done, and I watched the end of the last Flosstube clip just to see where I was at the end of last month. And I have actually done a lot more than what I thought. So it's really, really good and really handy to keep taking pictures of your work. If you're like me and you're working on a big project, sometimes it's really, for me, I like revealing little parts of the picture, and that is like my, what's the word I'm thinking of even. It gives me a bit of happiness. It's like a mini completion for me. And that gives me a lot of happiness seeing that part finished, like fully. So there's no like ninja stitches or anything. So when I can do that on a big piece, it helps me to keep going. if that makes sense. So yeah, I was kind of a bit like, I feel like I've been working on this statue for ages. I feel like there's nothing else coming through, but I have actually done more than what I thought. So I am going to take this out of the hoop. Just give me 2 seconds. I don't really need to take it out of the hoop for you, but I feel like I want to see like some proper progress, because I need to move the hoop anyway, because this hoop is so big I can't work on it when the stitches get so low. Like, I've got loads of space in the hoop still to work, but it's uncomfortable to hold. I could do with a smaller hoop. Right, are we ready? Okay, so here we are. That is so cool. It looks amazing on video. I'm so happy that it looks really good on video. Because when I try and take pictures of this for the Facebook group, it kind of highlights the gaps and makes the stitching look lighter than what it actually is. So I'm so happy with that. Hello, cat. I'll let you in the window in a second. Sunny's at the window. But yeah, so this statue here, I feel like I wasn't making much progress with it, and then I took a step back and looked at my old pictures, and actually I have made a lot of progress, and I've also got some background of like mountains coming through here. There should be an eagle, or I think it's an eagle here, that's now starting to take shape, and I'm almost done with the helmet. Almost. It feels like I've been stitching on this helmet for eternity, but it's almost done, and I'm so happy with that. That is awesome. And I'm not bored yet. Not bored yet, which is brilliant. So I will have, maybe not, I'm not sure, a bit more time to stitch this week coming up. My hours have been cut back to my contracted hours, which is only 11, because since I started, really, I've been doing overtime. So I'm going to have a lot more time on my hands. However, I have gone back to redoing the kitchen when it's not boiling hot in this house. And I have a new project that I've been working on for my partner in the playroom. So we have a spare room that we've converted into a playroom. It used to be my office type thing, craft room for when I had my Etsy shop. But he now has a dartboard up on there, and I will take a picture and show you what I'm doing. I am drawing, hand drawing one-piece flag characters. I'm pretty sure they're the flags for him on that one-piece wall, and then I think he wants something else after that, but that's taking up a lot of time. But I'm doing that when the weather's too hot to sit in the kitchen, because that is like a boiler room in there. So the kitchen still needs doing as well. Right, so haul. I wasn't going to show this because I feel like some people will leave negative comments saying that you shouldn't buy from companies like this, which I know I shouldn't. I'm not stupid, I know I shouldn't. But I bought a stamped cross stitch from a company that, from what I'm aware, does have stolen images, and I know they do because I've seen some on there, but some of the images aren't, and some of them are copyright free. I wanted a new stamped cross stitch for when I travel, and I just felt like I was really struggling with not buying something for so long that I thought, well, you know what, I'll just buy a stamped cross stitch instead of starting a new project. And what I'm going to do with my other stamped cross stitches that are licensed is I'm going to give them away because I don't like them. So I'll put them on the screen here. I have two. I mostly bought them just to see how, well, one of them was a gift, but the other one I purchased just to see how well this company's cross stitch was, because it was the first licensed cross stitch company that I'd ever come across. And I had worked on diamond paintings of theirs before. So I do really like the quality of it, but I don't like working on 11 count. And the one that I was gifted, it's lovely, but it's just not my type of thing either. They're both not my type of cross stitch pattern, like in terms of the artwork. So I have switched it to this picture here, and the only reason why I purchased this is because this website is very, very expensive. These cross stitches are massive for a stamped cross stitch. Some of them were over 100 centimeters wide and long, and they were £100, £200. But this one was £15 and I was like, well, that must be wrong, because everything on this website is like 60, like starts at £60 mostly. So it must be wrong, but it wasn't. I got charged £15. It turned up. I thought they were going to cancel it, but it comes in a giant box. You can probably see the name of it, Fairy Painting. I won't endorse you to go and buy anything from here because they do have licensed, stolen artwork. But I want to show you the image. You have probably seen this if you watch stamped cross stitch channels. It is... There was another reason why I wanted to try this as well, is because it is an 18 count stamped cross stitch, I believe. But it comes all beautifully boxed, all beautifully packaged, so this is really handy. So when I travel, I can just take this bag. I don't want to take any of my counted cross stitches when I travel anymore, because I am worried so much about Pattern Keeper from the last time I went away and it died on me. The floss comes on plastic organisers, which is brilliant. All nicely clear, like really big letters, numbers I mean, sorry. And then you have a paper pattern here with a booklet. I will show you the picture, but I don't know if you can be able to see it. It's called Giant European Village, and then in brackets it says new print. So this doesn't have a background. Let's see if I can get that in. It's very wide, but I thought this would make a great travelling piece. Again, everyone has opinions on these type of companies, but I am of the opinion of, if you can afford licensed artwork and if you can afford to support artists and independent businesses and like small businesses even, do it. But if you're hard up, you shouldn't be what's the word, excluded from hobbies that you love. So these type of companies do have a place, but I wish they would stop using stolen artwork and just use free, licensed free images. It's not difficult, but that is my opinion on them. I think the companies are okay. I think their items are good for the most part. Some of them are pretty badly rendered, but in my opinion, like, these type of kits do have a place for people that can't afford, you know, elaborate kits and all that type of stuff. But I really just wish they'd use free images and not steal them. That is the only thing that really bugs me with these companies, that they steal artwork. So let's look at the canvas. It's huge. I am not going to get this in frame. Look at it. Ooh. Yeah, 18 count. Symbols look extremely clear, extremely clear. So I'm going to take this travelling with me. That is the idea. Everything is in a box, everything is handy. It comes with needles, it comes with, obviously, like I said, plastic organisers. I don't need to take my tablet, I don't need to take my notebook, I don't need to take anything. It actually has a pair of scissors in here as well. So there is a little baggie here that comes with the kit, and it has a box of needles, scissors, a thimble, and it has these, I don't park, but it has these little parking things. So for £15, absolute bargain. They apparently, it uses Egyptian cotton, so okay. I've never used Egyptian cotton as far as I'm aware, but yes, this is 18 count. There is another company that I would like to try that is licensed, so I'll just mention that to you, just in case, you know, you want a stamped kit but you don't want to use a company like this that does have stolen artwork because you're not sure what's stolen and what's free. I hope that this image is a free image. I have seen this image everywhere. I am pretty sure that it is just a free image, but I'm also, on the other hand, not 100% sure, because it could be something like Dimensions, which, if it is, I apologise. Oh, my battery's going to die. my battery's going to die, so I've got to be quick. But yeah, the other two images, the other two stamp cross stitches that I have, I will be putting up for adoption. The only thing that I ask is that you pay the postage. So I'm in the UK. If you want it sent to you abroad, I can do that, but the postage will be sent to you. I will put a post probably 2 days after this has gone on YouTube on my Facebook group. So if you want to join the Facebook group and keep an eye out for the post, the link is in the description below for the Facebook group. And yeah, keep an eye on posts, and I'll just put up 2 kits for adoption. I'll send you pictures. I'll show on Facebook where I am at with the progress on these. And if it's something that you're interested in, let me know. And that is it, I think, for this week. So I will see you for the next update. Well, the last update, I believe. Yes, last update of July next week. So see you soon. Hello. So it is the 28th of July. I have just got back from work about 20 minutes ago. It's 8:45 in the morning, and I am a bit all over the place. So I thought I came home and I thought, right, the first thing I'm going to do is record. And then when I looked at my notes, I was very confused about what I did last week. I think I went over by a couple of days on when I should have recorded, which I am doing again today. It's Monday, and I should have recorded on the Friday. And I think the same thing happened last week to me. So I don't know what progress was from the last recording and what progress is new. So I'm not going to count the stitches that I've done on Lord of the Rings. I'm just going to show it to you, and I'm going to tell you the percentage that it's at the minute. And then for August we will restart, because I just don't know where I am. I can't remember if I showed you Dark Queen last week. I'll know when I edit it, but I haven't got like all the clips together, so I don't know if I showed you Dark Queen. I think I did, and I think I need to show you Lovers this week. If I haven't done Dark Queen, when it comes to editing, I will add another clip at the end of this one. So I will get Lovers out first. My head's a bit all over the place at the minute. It really is. I've now got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off work, and then I'm back in Saturday. I'm babysitting on the Wednesday, and for the other days I would like to do more work in the kitchen, because it's still not done. So I'm hoping that I can get a lot of stitchy time done when I'm not decorating in there. And next time I come on here, I should be a bit more with it and a bit more together, and have my notes written down properly, and have a good chunk of stitching to show you, because this week has been a bit poor. I think there was a couple of days, there was one day when I only did 125 stitches, and that's probably the lowest I've done for, just looking at that, is well over a month. So yeah, it was a pretty tough week when it came to stitching. The highest amount I've done, I'm only reading the last week of progress that I've written down, because I can't remember which week I left off of on the last video. The most stitches I've done this week in one day was 833 stitches, which is pretty low for me, for like the highest amount, because usually I get to over 1,000. But anyway, this is Lovers. I have done 122 stitches. If I have a before picture, it will be here. And here is what it's like now. So it's coming together nicely. Very, very happy with it. I only work on this one every now and again, because I do still want to do Dark Queen of the Seas more than this one. But really, really happy with it. And I'm not in a rush to get it done. It's kind of just a thing that I pick up. I think this week I picked it up when I knew I wasn't going to have time for Lord of the Rings. Because typically I don't like to pick up Lord of the Rings if I know I can't stitch for over an hour at a time. Just because I just feel like there's not much point. So yeah. So Lord of the Rings. I decided to do something different this week. I moved the hoop after recording last time. So I was like, right, because the hoop's so big, when it gets to a certain level on the hoop, I like to move it so I can stitch up higher. Because I don't like the tension that the hoop gives me at the bottom of it, which is weird why I started this because it was working down. But basically what I've done is I wanted to get to the end of the pan. So I'll show you what I've done. I just wanted to see where the pattern ended, like lengthways, not widthways obviously, but lengthways. I just wanted to see where it ended so I could have like a goal in my head. Okay, that's the bottom. I need to get this done. And I am really happy that I've done it. So let's just show you a quick before if I can. And here is what we're looking at now. So this part here is the bottom of the chart. So I have moved the hoop since last time. It's all rolled up. Shall I take it out? Yeah, let's take it out. Let's show you properly. So this, I don't even know if I can get it all in frame. I'm sitting cross-legged on the sofa, but we have like an L-shaped sofa and I'm sitting on the L part. But this will be the bottom of the chart, which is awesome. So what I was doing this week was going block by block on this left side and coming down. So I made my way slowly down as far as I dared to like jump. And then once I'd got to the bottom, I went back up to the top and started filling in each little block. So I am here at the minute, but I've worked my way down to here and obviously whatever, and most of the colours have been going that way. So this part has all been filled. I don't know if you can really see. So yeah, I think I am here at the minute, this block here, and then I will move down to the next block and then the next block and the next block. And I'm going to keep going down until I fill in this block on this corner. And then I don't know if I'll go back that way or if I'll just keep going block to block to block to block to block until all this bit's done. I probably won't do that because I feel like it's taken longer for me to stitch this way, but it's given me a bit of fun. I don't know if you can see that, but I dropped chocolate. I dropped chocolate on my chart. Oh, I was so upset. I tried to wipe it as much as I could. There's like a little chocolate stain there now. But the reason for that, well, another reason for it is because the bottom of this doesn't have a lot of tension and I don't have a lot, you can see, I really don't have a lot of fabric at the bottom to work with, so I can't pull it very tight. And because this is such a big hoop, the tension down here is pants, so I don't like working for very long at the bottom. So I thought maybe if I could just keep going down, up and down, up and down, instead of going that way and then having to work in this whole area all at once. I think that was my reasoning behind maybe going block by block. So I might do that, or I think I'm just going to have to switch to a different hoop because there's no way I can stitch all this, get to about here and finish that part without this hoop not winding me up. I'm thinking about switching it out, but we will see. If I get bored of going down, like constantly by the block, then I'll switch it out for a smaller one or a circle hoop. It's just, I like having the big hoop with a big pattern because I can see a lot more of what I'm doing and I haven't got as much fabric in the way. I don't like, what are they called? Those ones, those plastic hoops, not hoops, those plastic frames that you twist to tighten at the tops and the sides. I don't like them. The name is completely gone out of my brain. And I don't like stand frame, you know, like scroll frames. They're too big for me and too bulky. I almost bought one again, but I had one before. I had the big metal one. Oh, what's it called? I'm not even going to try today. My brain is just gone. The brain's not braining today. So, yeah, we'll go down block by block and keep this going. Fingers crossed I will have more stitchy time this upcoming week, in the first week of August. It is my son's birthday on the 4th. He will be 17, my oldest son. So that day I probably won't get as much done. He won't want to spend the whole day with me anyway, but I'll get to spend the morning with him, and then when he's had enough of me, then I could probably go and stitch. But yeah, so if I haven't shown you Dark Queen of the Seas, there will be a clip here in a sec. If not, and I have shown it last week, I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting me stitching just the one project. I know it's not for everybody. For the people that have stuck around, I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me feel motivated to keep going on it. I'm not bored of Lord of the Rings yet, which is great. I didn't tell you the percentage. It's at 15.98%, which is perfect because the last time I wrote it down, it was at 15.44, and then I think the clip before that it was at 13.81. So I am making progress, some weeks more than others, but it's just really, really nice to see, and I will remember to take pictures going forward each week of my progress. If you'd like any free patterns, or if you'd like to share what you're working on, please take a look at my Facebook group, Darkxstitch. And yeah, I think that is it. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.